Hey everyone, Andrew back again and welcome to another video, and today, as you can tell from the title, I'm here with my tag response for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre tag, which is the latest or one of the latest tags going around at the moment. So Sean Urshan was nice enough to tag me once again, so Sean, thanks a lot. And initially I wasn't really sure whether this tag was for me because I'm not a massive fan of the TMC franchise in general. But going through the questions, I decided I'll give this one a go. So 9 questions to get through, so here are my 9 answers. Question 1 is, do you consider the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre to be a slasher film? Of course I do, and if you can get really technical, you can pretty much classify it as the first, or one of the first, slasher flicks ever made. So yeah, I mean, I definitely consider it a slasher. There's all the slasher elements in that movie. A group of teenagers, young adults, go off for an adventure. They get killed off one by a masked killer. It's definitely a slasher. It might not be the goriest one out there, but it most definitely is a slasher. Question 2 is, rank all the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies best to worst, okay? Obviously the original is the best. It's definitely my favourite. Second, I would probably go with The Beginning. I think that's a really good modern movie and a prequel. Absolutely fantastic. It's still got that grimy feel to it, which I really like, and I love the character of Sheriff Hoyt. Third favourite would probably be Leatherface. I know it's probably a surprise to some people, but I really liked it. I thought it was a pretty interesting take on the franchise and the Leatherface character in general, and it had some really gory and brutal kills as well. The third one is probably, my fourth favourite is probably Part 3. I haven't seen that one in a while, but I can remember it being pretty decent. Next up we have Texas Chainsaw 3D. Sure, it had its issues, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I think it had a lot of missed opportunities within the movie, but you know, for what it was pretty cool. Next I would go with the remake. I'm not really a fan of this remake, to be honest. I think it's a little bit too polished, and I don't really like the look of Leatherface's mask in this one. Then I'd go with Part 2. Controversial, putting it towards the worst in the series, but for me the comedy elements within the movie kill it. It could have been a fantastic sequel if it pretty much kept the same tone as the original, but they just went for a completely different type of movie and it absolutely kills it for me, so not a fan of that. And then the worst is pretty much a consensus with everyone, I think, and that's The Next Generation. Question 3 is, do you consider the remake to be a good one? As I already mentioned, I'm not really a massive fan of it, to be honest. I mean, it's not a terrible remake, but yeah, overall, I don't really think it's that good either. Question 4 is, what is your favourite Leatherface mask? It's got to be the original mask from the 1974 movie. To me, that mask is amazing. It looks amazing, and it's definitely my favourite within the series. There's been a few different masks in each of the films, but to me it's always got to be the original mask. Question 5 is, if you were on a road trip through Texas, would you pick up the hitchhiker? Most definitely not. He looks creepy as hell, and I would avoid him like the plague. I don't pick up hitchhikers in general. I've heard way too many horror stories about that, so yeah, definitely not. Question 6 is, who would win in a chainsaw battle, Leatherface or Ash? Gotta go with Leatherface. He's the OG chainsaw wielder, and yeah, definitely Leatherface. Question 7 is, what different versions of the original movie do you own on Blu-ray and DVD? I own 4, so I'm going to show the 4K Ultra HD release from Germany, which I highly recommend, by the way. The transfer looks really good on this one, so definitely recommend that. Then I own a couple on Blu-ray. We have the 40th Anniversary from Umbrella Entertainment. I'm sure most of you own this 40th Anniversary release already. It's been released pretty much everywhere. Then I own the original Blu-ray from Umbrella Entertainment. And then I also own the Ultimate 2-disc Collector's DVD from Umbrella Entertainment as well. Pretty awesome. It's like in this gold tin case, and the DVD itself is pretty cool. It's like a meat pack. So those are all the different editions that I own on DVD, Blu-ray and 4K. Question 8 is, Leatherface is a hulking giant with the mentality of a child. Do you think if he'd been brought up by a different family he would have turned out differently, or he would be different? I definitely think so. I mean, I don't know if he would completely not be a killer, but I most definitely think if he'd been brought up in different surroundings, things could have been quite different for him, especially for a mentality standpoint. I mean, he'd probably still be a hulking giant, but mentality-wise he might be a little bit smarter, because no disrespect to him, but he is pretty slow. So yeah, I think in a different family environment things could have been pretty different. And the final question, question 9, is pretty interesting. To some people, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre isn't as influential on the slasher genre as movies like Halloween and Friday the 13th. So do you think it should get more recognition, or do you think it is fine where it is? That's a pretty interesting question, and one that I don't really fully understand why a lot of people don't really consider the movie to be influential. I mean, as I've already said earlier on in the video, you could technically consider the original film the very first official traditional slasher ever made. It's certainly one of the first ones anyway, and the movie's amazing. It's got a lot of fans. A lot of people hold this movie in really high regard, including myself. I know a lot of people that for them Texas Chainsaw Massacre is their favourite horror film of all time, and it's definitely my second favourite next to Halloween. So I definitely think it gets the recognition it deserves. As a franchise, however, that's kind of a different story, and I think maybe that's where things let the original film down a bit, because the original film, let's be honest, is on an entirely different level to pretty much anything else that's been released within the franchise after that. And I don't think that really helps. I think if the franchise had been a lot more consistent, like Halloween and Friday the 13th, then it might get a little bit more recognition as a franchise. But I think the original film gets enough recognition as it is, and pretty much fine where it is, I think. Okay, so there you go. That was my response to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre tag. Once again, Sean, thank you for tagging me. Now I'm going to tag a few people. So Andrew's Crypt, The Horror Man, Retro Horror, and The Last Shoegazer. You 4 guys have all been tagged. If you could do responses to this, that would be great. I'll leave all the questions in the description box below for you guys. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed my answers, and thank you for watching.